I know a cost-saving measure to simplify your lineup, but they got rid of the off-road focus Timberline version in favor of two pseudo-performance models, which is a little interesting to me. Though I did allude, yes, perhaps a trimmer version is coming. We'll just have to wait and see for official word. Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2025 Ford Explorer, perhaps one of the most iconic names in American SUVs. This 2025 model is the ST line that gets the appearance of the top performance ST without all the extra performance under the hood. What has this 7-seat, 3-row crossover SUV been like to live with for a week? What sets it apart for the 2025 model year? Stay tuned to find out. First thing I want to do is say a huge thank you to Ford for bringing me one of their most iconic SUVs in their lineup with this Ford Explorer. It did receive tremendous updates both inside and out for the 25 model year, but it is essentially a very heavy mid-cycle refresh. This being the ST line gets all the appearance of that top performance ST without all of the performance under the hood. So yes, we'll go ahead and open this double latched hood that is unfortunately supported by a prop rod and talk about the EcoBoost engine that is found underneath. This employs Ford's 2.3 liter turbocharged, direct injected, inline 4-cylinder EcoBoost, making 300 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. You can see it is mounted the correct way because this is a rear drive bias platform, unlike a lot of other vehicles that it competes against. Think Hyundai Santa Fe, Kia Telluride, things like that. Those are all front drive based crossovers, whereas this prefers rear drive. Our particular tester is an all-wheel drive, and it does send power to all four wheels via a 10-speed automatic transmission, but we will talk more about that as we get this thing down the road. As we go ahead and close the hood on this one, yes, I very much dislike prop rods, but as we close the hood, you can see we do have updated styling for 2025. The biggest telltale sign is the grille and headlight design situation here that very much separates it from pre-2025 models. We still get Explorer spelled out across the hood here, but a taller, more boxier grille here, and the headlights have kind of been shifted out of the grille the way they had been designed in years prior. But you can see we still get all LED lights, LED fog lights down here with some active air pass-through up front. Yes, this is what a vehicle looks like when it has been left outside in East Texas. Lots of pollen in springtime here, but I really do like the overall design and proportions of this 2025 model. We already talked about the grille, but let's talk a little bit about these wheels. Unique to the ST line, we get these very nice performance-inspired dark painted 21-inch wheels wrapped in some Pirelli P0 performance tires. And you can see, yes, we do get some red brake calipers back there. The size of the tires are 275/45 R21. We'll talk more about how they handle both in performance and in road noise as we get out and drive. One thing I have always admired about this generation Ford Explorer is the silhouette, the profile of it, because it very much looks fast while sitting still. You've got that tapering roofline that also contrasts with the rising belt line, really gives it a very svelte, fast look here from the side. Ours being the ST line, we do get that ST line badge there on the front fender. We get body colored door handles, black mirror caps, just an overall cleaned up athletic design all the way around. As we pull around to the rear, that is another aspect that was updated for the 2025 model year. Slightly reworked lighting signature back here with that kind of sonar pattern that goes into the middle. That black bar that reads Explorer just underneath the Ford badge. And then again, ours being an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, I guess. In Ford's case here, we do get that four-wheel drive badge. No visible exhaust tips, unlike the 23 model that we recently tested here on the channel that had those fake quad exit exhaust tips that actually are pointed down. Here, we just get no exhaust tips whatsoever, a look that I much prefer over the fake rear exit, but actual downturned exhausts. As we come up to the back of the vehicle, we do have a power lift gate. Right under the R in Explorer, you have the button to release that rear hatch. And then you can see we get a decent amount of space here behind the third row. Enough for a few roller bags, my backpack, whatever the case may be. But we do have some additional storage. If I move my backpack out of the way here, you can see we have these little side panels right here that do lift up for a little bit of extra storage space. Or you can actually lift up this entire panel, and now you can see, yes, this entire load floor is a false load floor, allowing you to store some additional stuff down underneath. Definitely not as big as what we see in Chevy's front-wheel drive based Traverse. That one really is massive. This one is not quite as deep. My backpack does not quite fit in there the same way. One thing I really do like about these back seats over something like the Traverse, power folding third rows. And you can hit that button right there and these seats will fold down together. It is a 50-50 two-person split third row seat. So we have two in the rear, three in the middle, two up front for a total of 7 seats here in this one. You can see we get some very low mounted cup holders and storage back here in the back. We'll talk more about it when we're actually climbed back in that third row. But just like we put them down, we can put them up simultaneously with a push of that button right there. I will also point out that we do have some rather massive headrests back here that you are going to want to flip up if you plan on having anyone ride back here. When it comes to the hatch itself, you can see we do have a power close button right here on the hatch that does make for very quick use of getting in and out of the back of the Ford Explorer. Before we climb in this one, I do want to show you the key. It is your typical Ford proximity key with all the expected buttons on here: unlock, lock, remote start, remote hatch, and your panic button. You can deploy a physical key if you need it, but you shouldn't have to because, again, it is a proximity key. You can just keep it in your pocket, your purse, wherever you do keep your keys. It is a passive entry system, so you unlock it just by grabbing the door handle. You can lock it by pressing that spot on the door right there. It does power fold your mirrors in, and as we come to the back doors, it is actually on all 4 doors, which I really like, especially if you're going to be loading a kid up in the back. First and foremost, really do like that. When you open the doors, you can see we get a nice interior, but it is not the premium top of the line interior. We'll get more into that as we go into the seats and such. But given that this is a sporty intended model, we get red accents all the way around, a nice use of color and materials in here. Even though essentially we have black on black, it doesn't feel too coffin-like because we get all this bright work throughout in the shiny door handles and such. You can see all of our mirror and window controls here, but 3-person memory seats. Speaking of the seats, they are leatherette and cloth covered. They are very nice. They've been very comfortable. They actually have a hidden feature that we'll talk about when we actually are sitting in them with the vehicle running. One last thing I want to show you, multi-way positional with 4-way lumbar. We do get the ST line there on the door sill, and I'll go ahead and call out, we do have a fun Easter egg here on the door panel because yes, this is produced in the Chicagoland area. You can see Explorer established 1991. So just a fun little Easter egg. There are a few more throughout this vehicle that I hope I will remember to show you all of, but go ahead and climb inside this one, close the door, and you may already see those red lights flashing at me. This one does in fact have Blue Cruise, Ford's hand-free cruise control, but we'll have to talk a little bit more about that later. We'll go ahead and put my foot on the brake, push the engine stop button, and my seat moves into place, which I really like that it moves back for easier ingress egress. We'll go ahead and start over my left knee here and talk about the controls. We have physical lighting controls and your hatch release right here. We do have those LED fog lamps that you just press the button there, and all your brightness controls for your fully digital gauge cluster. So we have a very digital look here. You can see, yes, I don't have my seatbelt on, but you can page through a bunch of different screens in the center section, including off-road status, which I would not be taking this particular model off-road. In fact, as it currently stands, I wouldn't take any model of the current 2025 Explorer off-road, but rumor has it that there is a fifth trim in the works that you may want to venture off the beaten path with. But otherwise, yes, fully digital, very familiar gauge cluster to anyone who has been in a modern Ford. The new F-150 has gone completely digital with its gauge cluster. Very similar design and layout there. You can see we have a fully digital screen over here, including all of our HVAC controls. Tri-zone climate in this one. You can see dual zone front with single zone rear. You can see we do have heated but not ventilated seats, heated steering wheel here. I do like how there is an automatic mode, so it uses exterior temperature and my thermostat settings to determine whether or not to turn on the heated steering wheel and heated seats, things such as that. Like that a lot. But I did say there was a hidden feature with the seats. We'll go ahead, hit the seat button here on the screen, and we will hit this word right here, massage, because even though we don't have like the fully nicest leather seats, we do have massage seats with multiple different functions, which I like a lot. That has come in handy putting some wheel time in on this vehicle. Otherwise, it's Ford's familiar sync system that we've come to really like. Another thing I really like is if I put it in reverse, the 360 cameras in this do not take up all the screen like you would see in something like a Stellantis product. So you still have access to your climate controls, even if the screen is displaying something else entirely. So I like that a lot. Very clear, crisp images from our 360 cameras here in this one. I already touched on climate controls, nice placement of climate vents. Again, nice use of materials throughout here. As we move down, we have some quick access buttons. Down here, your start stop, your quick access button for your cameras, things like that. But all built into what is essentially one big button with multiple different segments. Another reimagining of the interior here. No longer do we have the tall, skinny display that was essentially this screen rotated height-wise. We get a more logical landscape design here with this lower tray with a Qi wireless charger and a little bit of rubberized storage. I like this design, this layout, far better than the prior year models. This works a whole lot better, both visually and in practice after having lived with these. You can see we still get a volume knob, but tuning is still done through the screen or through your steering wheel controls. Underneath this little ledge here, we have a little cover that can be closed. I am very gracious that this isn't gloss black, but it is an interesting material to say the least. It does hide a little bit of storage down here. You can see we have a USB-A, USB-C, and additional power port down here if you need it, with a little bit of interesting storage designs. I'm not quite sure what's going to be going all the way back here, but it does give you multiple different options, and you can close that and hide it all away if you want to. 2 cup holders here, an electronic parking brake, your drive mode for your 6 different drive modes. So we have normal, slippery, off-road. Again, don't know that I'd be taking this one. Off-road, eco, sport, and tow haul. So there are your multiple different drive modes, and we get fun little animations each time we pan through one. 10-speed automatic is controlled by this rotary dial right here. And we get a nice padded armrest with decent storage in there, though it seems a little bit short. I feel like it could have come out here a little bit further, but you can see we do have our pencil bag, go bag, hidden down in there. We get a little bit of decent storage in the doors. We get a damped but not felt lined glove box that is actually fairly large, so you can store a lot of stuff in there if you needed to and if you had to. Then again, the use of materials in here is very nice. Up here we get a little additional storage with our sunglass holder, even further storage as we come around down here. It's kind of hard to tell with the seat scooted up, but we have this little slim place to store things. I could perhaps put my tablet in there, but we get a silhouette of all the different model year generations of Ford Explorer down here, which is just another fun Easter egg. As we come around to me, you can see I've got plenty of headroom here in this model. We don't have a sunroof, which really does give me nice and plenty of headroom. There's a cutout here just above me. It does come down a little bit just behind my head, but again, plenty of room up here. Now let's check out the second and third rows, see how much room is in those two for adults. Again, as I showed you earlier, the back doors also have the proximity entry, so it will unlock when you get back here. And then we have some nice storage options in the door. Not only do we have the lower storage sections here, but you can see we get a nice grab handle right here with a little bit of storage and a cup holder built in, which I really like. We also have built-in sunshades, which too comes in handy on a warm East Texas day. I really like that those are built in. You don't have to do the suction cup method because those are always prone to falling off. Taking a look at the seats, we have a bench seat here in the middle, which I really like. It is a 40-20-40 split bench rear seat, which also comes in handy. You can see we've got a few surprises back here. We'll go ahead and toss that in Tucker's car seat. But yes, a very nice, similar design to what was up front. We've got the cloth center section with the leatherette exterior section. You can see they do recline. We've got the recline handle right there, and they do slide forward and back, which we'll go ahead and slide in and test out. So this is me sitting behind myself at 5'10". Plenty of legroom just in my normal seating position. I've got this nice cutout back here. You can see we do have map pockets on the backs of both front seats. I did mention tri-zone climate control, so here are your controls there. Heated outboard seats, which is a nice touch here in the segment, and some additional power back here in the back. So not only do we get a 3-prong outlet, but we get some USB-C ports back here as well, which is a nice touch. Decent all-around seating and space in here, but I do want to go ahead pan around here. We do have a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders if you need it, but you can also fold this seat down. Right now it's hung up a little bit on Tucker's car seat, but if you had longer items that needed to pass through, you could absolutely fold that down. Really like how the seat belt comes from the seat itself. It doesn't retract from the ceiling, so that is a very nice touch for this center seat. And then I did mention these do slide forward and back. So this is the furthest forward sitting position. You can see I'm on the back of the front seat, but still not uncomfortable here in the second row. We'll go ahead, pan around to me and show you headroom back here is still good. Again, no panoramic roof in this one. We do have the air vents in the ceiling here, but we'll go ahead and slide out. And I'll show you what it's like getting into the third row from the second row here. So we do have these latches right here on the backs of the second row of seats, which folds the seat back forward and slides the seat forward just a little bit further. So you can tell I'm not going to be able to do that with Tucker's child seat in place. That is something that Chevy Traverse does have over this Ford Explorer. It'll fold the seat but keep the same shape, allowing you to leave a child seat in place. But then moving to the third row here, you can see, as I talked about earlier, 50-50 2-person rear seat. You can see we've got some steps here, and we can climb in to this third row. Now, this is actually the very first time I'm climbing back here since we've had this. And you can see sitting behind where the seats normally sit, me at 5'10", my knees are in the backs of the front seats, but it is not completely unlivable back here. Again, you could negotiate with those sliding second row seats. And like I showed you earlier, we have 2 USB-C power ports, a little bit of storage here, a little bit of storage down here with a cup holder. But yes, there is going to be a little of negotiation happening between second and third row passengers, but we still get some air vents in the ceiling. We get some light controls that we actually have control over. And unfortunately, the passenger over here does not get USB-C power. All of that is routed through one of these 2 ports right here. Interesting, we even get some storage here in the window. Very curious as to how that would work long term. Otherwise, you can see My feet do slide under the seats very nicely. We'll go ahead and pull this back into place, and it's more forward facing, and see, yes, that is much better, just with a little bit of forward movement from these third row seats. So it is not completely uncomfortable back here for average American adults. No major complaints, though. Yeah, it is a little on the tight side back here. Coming to me, I feel a little bit like a kid back here in the third row. I feel like this is a very spacious back seat. I don't feel like I'm having to really fight for space this way or this way. It really is just my knees in front of me, but with that seat scooted forward ever so slightly, I'm really good back here. All in all, I'd rate this a completely usable, though not my first choice of seats here in the third row. That's enough of a tour. Let's hop behind the wheel and see how this thing drives. All right, while we're inside here, I do want to talk about CarPlay because I was filming on my phone earlier and couldn't show you. So nice big screen here. We do have this little section of Ford preset buttons here that take you to all your apps or all your quick access vehicle controls, vehicle status, things like that, including your home screen. But you can fill up the entire screen. I don't know that you're adding really anything to it by hitting those buttons, but I do like the fact that Ford gives you that option. Otherwise, very nice, crisp, clear graphics can be used very easily. So setting off for the first 0 to 60 run in this one, I do have it in sport mode, and we're going to brake torque it a little bit, but the next couple of runs we're going to do a more traditional just floor it and go kind of situation. Mostly level ground here. We'll come to a complete stop, stand on the brake, stand on the accelerator, rev it up, and drop the brake. Off we go. It does throw you back. I did feel a little bit of wheel slippage there, but this thing actually takes off and goes. 6.82 in that one. I've seen 6.4 in my time with this one doing the exact same thing. So mid to high sixes in this, which is slower than the last Kia Sorento that we tested with its turbocharged 4-cylinder engine and its 8-speed wet dual clutch automatic transmission. Very interesting. I will say the interior packaging of this very much reminds me of a Kia Sorento, whereas those acceleration numbers, not quite so much. Little on the slower side. Almost, in this most recent example, almost a full second slower than what we saw in that Sorento. So if sporty driving is what you want, either get the full-fledged ST Explorer or the Kia Sorento. Now, I did bring up the Chevy Traverse several times when taking you on a tour of this one. And while, yes, there are plenty of 3-row unibody crossovers on the market that I could compare this to, obviously Chevy would be a no-brainer because Ford and Chevy have a long-standing American rivalry going on. But I would say the vehicles most like this would be the two from Stellantis in the Jeep Grand Cherokee L, the long wheelbase 3-row version, and the Dodge Durango. Now that Dodge Durango is on an older platform and does come with either a 3.6 Pentastar V6, a 5.7 naturally aspirated Hemi V8, or a supercharged Hellcat powered V8. And yeah, not quite on par powertrain wise across the board with the turbocharged 4 cylinders here in this one and that top ST line. I think really those would be the most logical on paper direct comparisons to this. I would say this is a much more modern interpretation of what Dodge was trying to do with their Durango, especially with their two performance models. We most recently tested the RT version with its naturally aspirated 5.7 liter Hemi, which does have a lot more power. Though if you're really wanting to keep it with a V8, you're going to get the full ST version, not this ST line appearance package. Otherwise, driving this one out and about, you can see over rough pavement, it is a little floaty, but it does have a taut suspension. I've definitely been in floatier crossovers in this segment. Again, the segment being a 3-row unibody. But I would say this is a fairly nice, fairly athletic platform. Though, yes, those 0 to 60 numbers are slower than something that wasn't even really race inspired. It was more off-road focused in the X Pro version of that Kia Sorento. But piloting this rear drive biased all-wheel drive vehicle around, I can say it is a fun vehicle to drive, though those Pirelli Scorpion Zero tires are a little on the noisy side here on this highly textured pavement. They are grippy, but they're also, yes, a little on the noisier side. So that is a little bit of a trade-off when going with the ST line or ST version. If you really want a comfortable version of the Ford Explorer, get the next to top trim or top trim, depending on how you want to look at it, Platinum model, which really goes more in on the luxury side of things versus the sporty side of things. It is very interesting to me that Ford simplified the product lineup down to 4: the base active, this ST line, the Platinum, and the full-fledged ST with the more powerful engine. I know a cost-saving measure to simplify your lineup, but they got rid of the off-road focused Timberline version in favor of 2 pseudo-performance models, which is a little interesting to me. Though I did allude, yes, perhaps a trimmer version is coming. We'll just have to wait and see for official word. Nothing official as of the time of this recording, which is on St. Patrick's Day 2025. Though I do feel like something is imminent. Ford has been expanding the trimmer lineup of their vehicles with the newest Expedition. I could foresee a trimmer version of this replacing the Timberline version of old, and I would say it bears an addition to the lineup given how many off-road focused vehicles are on the market nowadays. It just seems to be what most shoppers are going for versus something like this performance-oriented ST line. Though I really have no complaints with this version. I have some wish list items that I could go for on this one, like ventilated seats and full leather seats. But again, the ST line would solve most of those wish list items for me on this ST line version. As we come to the end of the twisty bit here, I'm going to do a more traditional acceleration. I'm also going to do it in normal mode. So what I mean is we're going to come to a complete stop. I'm going to move my foot from the brake to the accelerator and just floor it and see what we get there. Ready, set, go. A little bit of lag for the vehicle to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. But when we're off, we're off. And 7.17 seconds, so definitely slower, not brake torquing it. I know we're going uphill a little bit, a few variations. I am slightly curious. I think I can best my 0 to 60 time from earlier by brake torquing this, so I'm putting it back in sport. We're gonna do it one more time because this direction is headed slightly downhill, so I know it's cheating a bit. But we'll go ahead and brake torque it going downhill. So full on the brake, full on the accelerator, let it rev to about 3 grand and go. It really does put you back in your seat. I am impressed with the overall acceleration of this, even if the numbers don't completely win out. So 681 that time around, high sixes, sub 7 second. It's decent, but again, if you're buying an Explorer for true performance, get the ST model. Otherwise, living with this one, visibility out of it is great. I've got decent sized rear view mirrors. I've got a good view out of my back window back there, as long as the back headrests are down. I've got good visibility looking over my shoulders. No real complaints with the overall livability of this one. The steering is very easy to point and shoot where I want to go. It is fully electric power steering here in this one. So very easy to maneuver around tight spaces. I already showed you the 360 cameras in this. It really is a very comfortable 3-row crossover that will fit into many families' garages and lifestyles without much or any sacrifice whatsoever. Though, again, me personally, I think I would go for the full-fledged ST version. Other than that, yes, if you want to see some more of what this is like in our daily life, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button down below. Our next video up will include Holly behind the wheel, Tucker back in his child safety seat, and I will even install his child safety seat to show you what this is like for families of all sizes and ages here in this 3-row crossover from Ford. You can also find us on all social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, in the 2025 Ford Explorer ST line, until next time, gearheads, bye.